coming. My name is Kat McGee, and I'm the Assistant Director of Student Development and Coordinator for the Women's Center. Thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight as we celebrate Career History Month with our keynote speaker, Lieutenant Dan Choi. Every October, Ramapo College celebrates the queer community's rich history and the gains that have been made towards a more just society, free from discrimination based on who you love. But this October has been difficult for some of us to celebrate when the headlines of our national newspapers are covered with the names of queer youth who have taken their own lives, often due to lack of empathy from their peers who bully without mercy. In the last few weeks alone, eight teenagers, at the very least that we know of, have committed suicide. And what is even more tragic than this is the fact that this high number is not all that unusual. According to the Trevor Project, there has not been an increase in suicide completions among LGBT youth. Sadly, there are likely this many deaths every week, but the media and the general populace are just starting to realize the depth of this public health and social justice crisis. There's a very important link between these deaths and the tragic epidemic of gay youth committing suicide, and Lieutenant Dan Choi's struggle to serve his country openly and proudly. Sarah Silverman recently made the point that when we tell gay Americans that they can't serve their country openly or marry the person whom they love, that we are also telling this to children who get this message loud and clear. Those who bully their gay peers are internalizing the messages that the United States of America does not think queer people are worthy of equal rights and that they are somehow less than. But when we stand up against bigotry and inequality, children learn from this too. When Dan Choi refuses to remain closeted in the military, children learn from his bravery and from his honesty. When thousands of students across the country wear purple today, give yourselves a hand if you are one of them. When thousands of students across the country wear purple today in honor of Spirit Day to remember the queer youth who have passed, their peers look on and learn compassion. We wear purple because in the LGBT flag, the purple stripe represents spirit. The many students and staff that I saw today in purple remind me that the spirit of the deceased is celebrated and that those who are struggling with their identity or with bigotry are absolutely not alone. Thank you all to everyone who participated in this today, and thank you for being with us tonight. At this time, I'd like to introduce Shane Hoff, the student responsible for bringing Dan Choi to Ramapo College. Let's give him a hand.
Thanks, everyone. Hi, my name's Shane Hoff. I'm the Queer Peer Service Coordinator for the Women's Center. We're very excited today to have Lieutenant Dan Choi here to talk to us about his experiences being an openly gay soldier. Every October, we celebrate Queer History Month by bringing quality programming and speakers to educate the Ramapo campus on issues that affect the queer community. There is a misconception that Don't Ask, Don't Tell protects the queer community. However, it does not. It does not protect the queer community. It openly discriminates against them, projecting the idea that they are not equal, that their orientation is something to be ashamed of. On March 19, 2009, the West Point graduate and Iraq veteran announced that he was gay on the Rachel Maddow Show. Because of 3 words, I am gay, Lieutenant Choi's life changed forever. After a decade of serving in the military under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and despite his extreme value as an Arabic speaker, able to communicate quickly and clearly with the Iraqi people, 1 month after his announcement, Lieutenant Dan Choi was notified that the Army had begun discharge proceedings against him. He was one of only 8 soldiers from his graduating class who majored in Arabic. On July 22nd, 2010, Lieutenant Dan Choi received notification of his honorable discharge from the Army under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I first heard of Lieutenant Dan Choi at the National Equality March in Washington, D.C. last October. His speech was not only filled with intense passion, but inspirational hope as well. I can think of no person better to speak suited to speak at our campus. Recent media attention given to the epidemic of gay teen suicides illustrates that we need his passion and hope, now more than ever. And let us not forget the thousands of suicides related to homophobia that occur every year that go unpublicized. Lieutenant Dan Choi is the passion and the hope and I'm so grateful to have him here tonight. So without further ado, I present to you all Lieutenant Dan Choi.
Probably heard this is the first stop that I've been at since the recruiting center in New York City's Times Square. And I am so happy to be here right now because Don't Ask, Don't Tell is dead! Baghdad, Iraq was an area known as the Triangle of Death. In Arabic, Muthallath al-Maut. Normally we would be on a Humvee. This time in the afternoon, be sweltering, 130 degrees. Overwatch what we thought was a Sunni mosque. About this time of the day we'd hear the call to prayer, which we call Muslim faithful to worship and pray together. Instead of hearing the normal call to prayer from this Sunni mosque, we heard something very different one day from the megaphone on the minaret. We heard, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajo ala naduhu ansar walado maqtala 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 ya Allah ya Muhammad Ya Ali, Ya Mahdi. For those of you familiar with Islam, that was not the call to prayer. It's very surprising what we heard. Our intel was wrong. That wasn't a Sunni call to prayer. That was a Shia political rally from Muqtada al-Sadr. What was most surprising about that wasn't that our intel was bad. That happened quite a bit. No surprise because for decades and centuries, this area, just like areas throughout the entire Middle East and North Africa, discriminated against Shia people. So much that some Shia leaders would say, if you are ever in danger of losing your life, or losing your friends, or losing your job, you do not have to express your identity. You can hide. It was this philosophy called taqiyya. Times were dangerous. Sunni people were calling Shia people infidels, worse than non-believers. So these sheikhs, these tribal leaders would inform the Shia people, you don't have to tell who you are. You can hide that identity. Better that you live. God will forgive you. Better that you stay alive, that you have friends, that you be political, that you be successful. And that was so counter to everything that we were trying to teach them in Iraq. We were saying, we're going to help you to build a pluralistic, open democracy, a representative government where nobody has to be afraid of what they are or what they were or where they were born or where they're from. They can speak up. They can participate. It's an open society. We're trying to help you. I would go into tribal meetings and I would tell the people, I would start off with an Arabic poem, the most famous Arabic poem in all of the Middle East, the Arab world. They know this poet named Mutanabbi, who wrote Al-Khaylu wa-Laylu wa-Baydawu ta'rifuni. Usayfu wa-Rimhu qardasi wa-qalamu. Ana alladhi nadra li'amal al-sha'ri wa asma'a kalamati man bihi samu. The horses and the night in the desert, they all know who I am. They know me. The sword and the spear, the pen and the scroll, they all know who I am. They know me. I am the one that